later this year, we've got, the best product pipeline that I've seen at Apple in my 25 years at Apple.
Mm-hmm. Well, the best product pipeline you've seen in 25 years.
That's right.
That includes the iPhone.
Could you tell us about them?
I get to see it tomorrow.
Oh.
Every year, Apple gathers a huge crowd of its developers and walks them through the future. The Worldwide Developer Conference has been the place where Apple has launched iPhones, redesigned software, and shown glimpses of its most exciting and important upcoming products. This year, it all starts June 2nd, and the rumor mill has been churning for months with what we will and won't see in San Francisco. Let's start with iOS, which is a staple of WWDC. Last year's update was a sweeping change in the look of the platform, but iOS 8 will really begin to polish some of the rough edges while introducing a number of key new features. The most important one seems to be Health Book. According to 9to5Mac, the new app will collect data on information like blood pressure, activity, heart rate, and sleep, and will place it into cards that look a lot like the Passbook app. It'll pull from the phone's many sensors, but might also work nicely with a few accessories. But we'll get to those. Now, what about smart homes? What if your phone could unlock your door when you get home, turn your lights on, and welcome you home with just the right song playing through your living room speakers? The Financial Times has said that Apple will unveil home automation software at WWDC, which would mark a huge step into a new industry for Apple, one that Google just got into with its recent acquisition of Nest. Rounding out the iOS 8 rumors are new apps like Preview and Text Edit, enhancements to Siri including Shazam-like song identification, and public transportation for Apple Maps, finally. Again, not a huge reimagining of the platform, just a polish and a paint job. And, I don't know, an addition or something. Next, let's talk OS 10.10 called Syrah. And yes, that is apparently the numbering scheme Apple's going with as 10.9's follow-up. The Mac's operating system is apparently getting a big design overhaul, one that puts it more in line with iOS 7's bright and simple looks. It'll still work like the OS 10 you already know, but will start to feel a lot more like a real companion to iOS. It's a logical next step. They have an increasing number of apps in common, and a similar style would make the two platforms feel even more like one. So iOS and OS 10 are basically a given. And while Apple's used WWDC in the past to announce major hardware, generally speaking, we don't expect to see much outside of iterative updates there. That said, there are two bigger iPhones said to be on their way for late summer or early fall. Multiple outlets have reported that Apple is working on iPhone models with a 4.7-inch display and a 5.5-inch display, both far bigger than the 4-inch iPhone 5S. It's hard to say when they'll appear, especially given what are apparently real production problems, but it's not impossible that we'll see one of them at WWDC. Then there are wildcards like Apple TV. The company has been talking about Apple TV a lot lately, and this week Apple's senior vice president Eddie Q revealed that it's sold 20 million set-top boxes so far. It's been more than a hobby for a while now, and if Apple did want to set up something like a new app ecosystem as it gets ready to build a television, its annual developer conference is just the place to do it. And it's not just about TVs, of course. The really big Apple rumor of late has been the so-called iWatch. Apple has yet to enter the wearable field, which is quickly becoming crowded by some of its biggest competitors, including Samsung and Google and even Pebble. And the phrase new product categories keeps being thrown around by Tim Cook and other Apple executives. Something is coming, and soon. But watches are a fashion product, so maybe Apple's been waiting to solicit expertise from Beats, the style-focused audio company that Apple just bought for $3 billion. We're not expecting to hear anything from them next week, but we might see newly minted Apple executives Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. As for Dre's long in production album Detox, well, some things not even Apple can make happen.